Hi, Mary Sherwood Savinsky here. Nice of you to join us today. This is the second in a series of ongoing discussions regarding the very basics, the nuts and bolts of what you need to be successful when you're preparing for an interview. And I do hope that you will prepare well ahead of time and not be waiting till the night before the interview, of course, because that won't allow you enough time to be successful in preparing and presenting in an interview that for a job that you really want. So start preparing now, even if you don't have an interview scheduled. If you're job seeking, you should be practicing interviewing. So hopefully these series of presentations help you. And let me get started by introducing myself. First of all, I'm Mary Sherwood Savinsky. I'm an occupational consultant. I help people find jobs, keep jobs, make career moves, changes, climb up the corporate ladder, whatever your goal is relative to work or your career or your job. I can probably help you. And if I can't, I probably know someone who can. So please, if you're not sure if I can help you at all, shoot me an email, call me. I'll be happy to try and help you. If I can't, I'll try and put you in the right direction of someone who can help you or a resource that can help you. I have a number of online resources that really are very helpful to job seekers and completely free. I hope you'll take advantage of those. Many are available on my blog, www.jobsearchfortherestofus.com, and others are available on my website, which is www.life-works.info. And when I post this online, I'll include the links to those so that you can very easily access them and just click on whatever topic or page or post interests you most. But I do hope you'll take advantage of those. I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, so friend me, follow me, find me, any of those places. I'm even on Pinterest, so I'm happy to connect with any of you on any of the places that you are online. One of the things, as I said a little bit ago, that I really counsel clients about, and even non-clients, just anybody that'll listen, is that you really need to practice very early and very often. You don't want to wait till the last minute. If you're hoping to get an interview, you should start practicing now. And I really can't stress that enough. You should read articles about interviewing. You should practice your answers to popular interview questions. Practice your answers to interview questions relative to your field and to your resume, and also to edit those answers regularly as you practice them to continually improve. You'll be able to do that if you do write down your answers, which is something I do recommend. Many people don't find the value in writing their answers down, or don't understand the value in it at least. But there really is a real value in doing so, and I hope that you will take the time to do that because it does allow you to edit your answers and improve your answers and see where you might make changes to make you look better to the employer when you're interviewing. Of course, when you are hoping to have an interview, even especially if you're working, but even if you're not, you really want to make sure to have everything that you need for an interview ready to go and prepared so that you can really wow that employer. That's what you want to do. The competition out there is very fierce right now for jobs, and if you can make yourself stand out by looking organized and together and having everything that you need that the employer might want and everything that you might want to refer to in an interview, you are going to wow the employer and you'll have a better chance of getting hired. And of course, that's what we all want. Let's start with your resume. You'll want to bring both a short version and a long version with you to the interview. The short version you might think of as the one that you use to hook, quote unquote, the employer. It's the one that really has the impact that you might have applied to a position for, that really wowed them by highlighting all of your good skills and abilities, your education and your experience, etc. The longer version is going to have more of your details included in it, and you want to bring that because a lot of times when you go to an interview, employers will want you to complete an application, and so you'll want to have information on hand so that you can complete the application. On your shorter version, you might not have your exact dates, start dates and end dates. On your longer version, you'll want to have that. A lot of employers do look for that information in an interview, and or if they're asking you to apply for the job before you actually interview, and some of them will ask you to complete an actual application. So best to be prepared by having that longer form. Could be even a chronological resume. It should be as close as possible to the format that you submitted to the employer so that you can use it to follow along if you want to. So don't make the format too different or change the order too much. You might confuse yourself during the interview, and you don't want to do that either. You do want to, in the longer version, have more details of your accomplishments for each job, and maybe even some of the other things that you've done on this longer version. And if you were following in tip number 1 of Nuts and Bolts, you might have read about the STAR method, and you might keep those in mind as you're working on your longer version to bring to the employer if you don't already have a longer version. If you do, go back and revisit it and make sure that you do have the STAR method in mind when including those details of your jobs and experiences. And STAR stands for situation, task, activity, and result. So that's just a way to prompt you to really outline the impact that you've had in each of your jobs. And you may not be able to do exactly that for all the jobs that you've held, and that's fine, but do it as best as you can or as much as it applies. And it's really just a way to get you thinking about what you've done that's important that you want to relate to this new employer. Again, to wow them, to really impress them, you want to stand out above the other applicants. And the last thing you want to do in an interview is to repeat the same single story or two that you've memorized. That while they may be good stories or good illustrations of what you've done and what you can do, no one wants to hear them over and over, no matter how differently you word them. So this is just a way to make sure that you have some good information ready to go to share with employers during the course of the interview. You will want to bring several copies of each. 5 to 10 is a good number to bring. A lot of times the interviewer is going to interview you directly from your resume, and you want to make sure that they do have a copy in front of them, and that everybody present has a copy in front of them so that they can do exactly that, even if they didn't plan on it. The interview can become like a roadmap for your interview, so that if you introduce it into the interview, even if they weren't planning on it, they will refer to it, and they will be prompted then to discuss things that you've already highlighted that you feel are important to share with them. So it, again, serves as kind of a roadmap for you or for the employer during the interview, so that you can be sure that all of your good skills and abilities that you want to share are going to come up during that interview. You can use the longer version for your reference while the employers were referring to your short version. They may end up asking you at the end for your longer version, which is fine because it's going to be in greater detail, and you want them to have that to refer to instead of their scrawled notes on their notepad or on your shorter version resume. So that's why I would like for you to bring both a short version and a long version with you, and again, several copies of each. That way you have some to share. And also, you never know what business or opportunity is going to present itself between getting to and leaving the interview. There may be an employer you had no idea about in the suite next door that you may say, I'm dressed, I'm out, I'm ready to go. Why don't I go ahead and stop by and see if I can drop off my resume? And that's a good way to tap into the hidden job market, which we've talked about several times on several of the discussions that I have on slideshare.net. And again, all these presentations are free, either there or on YouTube. So I hope that you take advantage of them and get something from them. I think even if you're an experienced interviewer, you'll get a tidbit or two from each of them. So do take the time here and there to watch the videos and explore other resources as well. It's okay, if you want to make notes on your longer version so that you're reminded of things that you want to make sure and stress or bring up. If you want to highlight something here or there or put a star next to something, try not to overdo it. And certainly you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're going to be tempted to read. Nothing is more annoying to anybody listening to someone than hearing someone trying to read and sound like they're not reading when they are reading. Not only that, but if you lose your place, you may end up getting confused and nervous and just very out of sorts. So it'll be best if you just have a little bit of markings or highlighting here or there, maybe a word or a phrase, to keep yourself from being tempted to read from your long version resume. If you do mark up one of your versions to refer to while you're interviewing, make sure to keep it separate from the fresh, clean copies that you'll share with the interviewer. Either put your cheat sheet copies on the left and your copies to share on the right, or perhaps vice versa, or you might have a couple of different pockets to separate it from. You can do something as simple as printing yours out on white and the ones to share on off-white. If you have several page resumes, you can put 2 staples in yours, 1 staple in theirs. You get the idea. You don't want to inadvertently give your marked up copy to the employer by all means. I doubt it would be a deal breaker, but you want to have a nice fresh copy for them, I'm sure. So just be a little careful there. And of course, you'll want to also bring copies of your certificates and your licenses. Again, some of the employers will ask you to fill out a formal application before you even get into the interview. And they do this for a couple of reasons, so that they have everything ready to go and that they can ask for anything that's missing in the event that you don't have everything. You are going to have everything, because that's why you're watching this video, so that you can be prepared and have everything that you need ready to go. Sometimes they do it, though, as a kind of a test, a stress test kind of thing to keep you waiting. Sometimes they'll even have people watching or observing your behavior and assessing that while you wait and while you complete the application. How much time you take, whether you speak to people around you, how friendly you are, all depending on the type of position that you're applying to. So you really want to make sure you have everything that you need when you come in, so that, again, you're not flustered and you can feel very comfortable, very confident that you do have what you need to be impressive during the interview, because that's what we want, of course. And if you have these certifications or licenses that you need to provide copies of, the human resource folks are going to be happy, and they're going to give a nod in your favor, and some of them carry more weight than hiring managers in certain corporations. So it can never hurt to have that mark in your favor anyway, trust me. So that's what you certainly want to do. So bring those licenses and certifications. Also bring your proof that you're eligible to work in the United States for the I-9. That will need to be completed if they do ask you to do that ahead of time, and they may. Passport's the easiest thing to bring, but you can also bring your driver's license and your birth certificate or Social Security card. Don't bring copies, they won't be good enough, but you can bring the originals. You'll have to take care with them, because you certainly don't want to lose those originals. But again, the copies are not going to be enough to satisfy those requirements, so you will want to bring the actual original documents for that. And again, the passport is the easiest one to use, because that's going to cover all the bases. If you don't have a passport, you'll need to bring 2 copies, and you can look up other documents that you can bring, but the most popular and most readily available are probably your driver's license or government ID and either your birth certificate or social security card will do. So make sure and do that. Of course, you want to have your cell phone fully charged and your tablet fully charged. You want to make sure that the sound is turned off before you go into the interview, but keep it on prior to that in case somebody's trying to reach you to reschedule the interview or to give you last-minute instructions before the interview. I think it's a good idea to have your portable charger with you as well, just in case you do need to charge it. You may get in a position where you have to use it a lot more that day before the interview than you are used to, and we'll want to have it charged so that you can have it available should you need to call in an emergency or be reached in an emergency on the employer's end too. And all of these things that we're talking about, you should have in what I'm going to call your mobile interview kit. This is going to be especially important if you are interviewing while you're working. So again, you want to keep all of these things that we're talking about together in one place that you can easily access. And if you are working, you want to have it with you in your car or at your office. You want to think about if you want to use paper or tablet during the interview. If you're going to use a tablet, make sure you're very, very comfortable with using the tablet and that you've used it in meetings before and that you're comfortable with how your tablet operates with downtime. If it's not touched for a certain period of time, it will probably go to sleep. How long is that? Is it easy to wake up? Do you have everything open on the tablet that you need to refer to and know how to very easily toggle back and forth between those? Again, you must be very, very comfortable with your tablet and using it in a meeting, in a business setting, before I would even recommend attempting that. And I would even go so far as to say I would not recommend it. A tablet, a paper, and a pen is much more straightforward. Less things to go wrong. Keep it simple. As we learned in school, you want to keep everything as simple as possible, as straightforward as possible, so less can go wrong. Also, the interviewer may not be as tech savvy as you and may wonder in the back of his mind, what is this guy, playing a game, emailing his girlfriend? Is she shopping on the internet? You don't want to run that risk of alienating the interviewer either. And on paper's a lot more kind of visible, and they can have a good idea of what you are doing and that you are engaged in the interview process. So I really do recommend that you go old school here and use a paper and pen. You will want to bring at least 2 pens with you, and in previous presentations I've actually gone so far as to recommend 1 of each color so that you can take notes in 1 color and have your questions for the employer written ahead of time in another color. That way, if you do run out of ink also, you'll have a backup in case of emergency, and that would be the color that you've already written your questions for the employer ahead of time in. You don't want to run the risk of running out of ink and having to borrow a pen in the middle of an interview. That's not going to do much to help your confidence. You will want to have some notes with you, and that's fine. Again, we've covered this in other presentations. You want to have a few notes to refer to. And some questions outlined to ask the employer, but again, you don't want to put yourself in the position where you're going to be tempted to read and throw yourself off. That's just not going to help you feel comfortable and confident if you lose your place and are referring to your notes too much. You want to have a nice, fresh, clean notebook. It's okay if you have a few pages filled in it, but make sure it looks nice. Don't use an old college notebook or one that you take to weekly departmental meetings or anything. Staples, and I'm sure the other office supply places as well, offer very cheap notebooks that are very attractive. They call them like privacy tablets or something like that, where they have a little cover on the top and paper that's gummed in a tablet form so that it's very easy to use. Hopefully you already have a day planner or a portfolio of some sort that you're using with a fresh notebook slipped into it that you can use so that you look sharp and pulled together. last thing you want to do is to present as somebody who doesn't take a lot of notes. You want to look real comfortable taking notes and listening to people and being on top of things. So look the part and play the part during the interview. Now, one thing a lot of clients forget to do is they forget to eat. They are nervous, they don't eat breakfast, they get called for an interview and they schedule it on their lunch hour. I really recommend that in your mobile interview kit you keep nuts and some water. If you're thirsty, you're going to drink room temperature or even lukewarm or warmer water and be happy with that. If you've gone without a nice drink of satisfying water for a while, it's going to go a long way to making you feel a little bit better. The nuts are great for energy, will keep your stomach from growling during the interview. Again, especially if you're interviewing on your lunch hour and you've had to skip eating lunch in your car. So make sure and put water and nuts in your interview kit, especially if you're working and you have a mobile interview kit. But even if you're at home, have everything ready to go so that if you're called for an interview, you won't hesitate and you'll just say yes. When do you want me to come in? And be able to drop everything, get dressed, run out the door with everything you need. And again, nuts will give you energy so that you'll be able to focus. Your brain cells need water. Feed them too. So it's very important. I can't really stress that enough. It seems a little thing, but it really is very important. Keep a full interview outfit ready to go. Even if you have a mobile interview kit, keep one in your car. It never hurts to have an extra change of clothing anyway. You know, you'd be surprised the number of people that break down on the way to an interview. If it's going to happen, you know, it could happen. So just be prepared and have an extra outfit ready to go so that if you are called unexpectedly from work to an interview, you have something ready to go in your car. And if you're on the way to an interview from home, you have something to change into if something should happen. That's very important. And I know, ladies, you always have an extra pair of hose if you wear hose in your car. So I'm confident that you will do that. Men, though, I get a lot of grief, unfortunately, about having a suit hanging in their car. You can have a suit in a garment bag hanging in your car ready to go for an interview. Trust me, you can. If you need to and it's possible, you can hang it off of the back headrest of the front seat if you're worried about blocking your view out that back passenger window or looking like you're driving around with a suit in a garment bag in your car. It's going to be better if you are prepared and have that ready to go than if not. And excuse me, I did not plug in my computer, so I'm going to do that right now. Again, you know, one of the things that you want to do is to have everything and to feel that confidence so that you can not worry about some of these little things and know that you have them all covered and can just focus on the interview and your answers to those interview questions. You know, mints before the interview are a good idea. It's great to have those on hand. You don't want to have to worry about, you know, do I have bad breath? Do I have coffee breath? Anything like that. You know, even if you don't tend to worry about those kinds of things, it doesn't hurt to take some mints prophylactically. Just take them anyway so that you know, again, that you do not have to worry about that. As a side note, Listerine makes a little package that you can buy at any drugstore. It's very small, thin sheets of breath freshener, which melt on your tongue, don't leave any coloring on your tongue or your teeth, and do not necessarily smell like mint, but at the same time do freshen your breath. So that might be an option for you if you don't want to smell like you just popped a breath mint. You might try the Listerine little dissolving tabs, I think is what they're called, something similar to that. I think you'll be able to find them pretty easily next to the mints at the front counter usually, and also next to the mouthwash. So try those two areas. And again, they are kind of nice because they don't smell like you just popped a breath mint, but at least you know that your breath is fresh. And that's important. You want to feel your best. You want to look sharp. You want to come across at your best possible presentation, and any little thing that you can do to allow you to feel confident is going to help you. So just to recap, gather all your information and your nuts and your water and your resume copies and your interview attire, and keep them all in one place. Whether you're working at home or if you're currently working, keep them in your car in a mobile interview kit. I think the mobile interview kit can work for interviewees that are not working as well. There's maybe no need to keep it in the house. Maybe keep a kit ready to go in the car as well, and just make sure everything's updated in there if you've made any changes to your resume, etc. And that way you have a change of clothing if you need to in your car as well. You never know. So when you're applying for a job in person too, a lot of times you might be asked on the spot if you want an interview, which is always great. And hopefully you'll feel comfortable and confident being able to do that because you have everything you need in your mobile interview kit. I hope today's session and the other presentations have been helpful to you. Again, please take advantage of the free resources that I offer on my blog, www.jobsearchfortherestofus, and my website, which is www.life-works.info. Connect with me on LinkedIn. If you're not sure if I can help you, email me or call me. I do offer free consults and can help you figure out if I can help you, how I can help you, and if not, maybe able to refer you to someone who can, or to a resource that can help you. So feel free to reach out and keep reading, keep learning. I think it's important, even if you're working, to always be on the lookout for other opportunities and to have a good idea of what your career goals are so that you don't miss out on those opportunities. Until next time, I hope you have a great day and enjoy. Don't forget to plan your career. You don't want anything to happen without a plan. And in today's economy, you can't count on a job being there forever. Employers are taking over, downsizing, making changes that we can't foresee and that we never would have foreseen 10 years ago. So it's best to be prepared, think ahead, be ready to go. Good luck, and I hope you get the job. Take care.